Hi again, everybody. I see that, well, there's a ton of information now in Santa Muerte in English, and it's just all regurgitated for the most part. I mean, it is. But there's not too much on other folk saints. And maybe that's for good reason, but recently I've taken an interest in San Simon, or otherwise known as Mashimon, and he's known by other names that I have a hard time pronouncing, so I'm not going to try. But he has my interest, and I'm going to be approaching him slowly. And yes, she already gave me the okay, because, we have to clear these things first. Um, and I'm going to look into him and into San Pascualito Rey. And I'm not promising that I'll be like uploading content on them, but I'm going to be delving further into what they're all about. And those are the only two that I have on my radar right now. Jesus Malverde doesn't really I don't feel like a pull towards him, but those are the two that are on my to-do list right now, especially San Simon. I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. There's honestly, without sounding mean or disrespectful or anything, there's nothing that he can do that Santa Muerte can't. And I mean, he's a Guatemalan folk saint. So if you look up San Pascualito, you'll see a skeleton with a crown, with a scythe, and a cape. And it's like it was that native man's rendition of that friar. Or yeah, you have to go read the story, but I had, I believe, a significant experience with him, and I have no reason to doubt my experiences, because I double check everything. I was staying at a friend's house, and he had like a 2.5 foot tall skeleton with a scythe and with a crown. And I'll be honest with you, initially, even though I have a Santa Muerte altar, initially when I saw it, I was like taken back, like, whoa, that thing looks intimidating. But I spent the night there at my friend's house, a couple of nights, and the second night, I mean, I'm afraid of the dark. I'm just being real with you. I'm afraid of the dark. So there always has to be some kind of light coming in. And which is fortunate for me because the altar has Christmas lights. So anyway, I spent the night there, and on the second night, I mean, that entire time I was like scared, because I'm in a new place. It's a spiritual place. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm like minding my P's and Q's, because this is not my environment. Even though it's a comfy environment, it's still not my environment. So on the second night, I felt somebody watching me. And the only other person, or the only other thing in that room with me, was the pug. My friend has a pug, and he's like, he makes noises, just so you know. And sure enough, he does make noises, but for some reason, his noises put me to sleep. It's the weirdest thing. Anyways, and so there's only the pug behind me, right, on the couch, and I feel somebody staring at me. And I look over, and the skeleton, the 2.5, 3 foot tall skeleton, has red sockets in the inside of his face, and they're looking at me. And I'm like, you looking at me? And then as soon as I felt him like looking at me, I had a comforting feeling. And it stayed comforting throughout the entire night, because when I would get up like kind of scared, I could feel him looking at me, and he would go like, shh. just, he wouldn't speak, but it was just like, shh, go to sleep. It's okay. It's okay. And I was like, okay, and so I'd fall back asleep, and it just felt like a warm embrace, So I was like, I like that guy. I was like, I need that guy. And so I asked my friend, I was like, where did you get that skeleton? And he's like, I found it here, So ever since then, I will harp on my friend, like, say hello to San Pascualito for me. He's my baby. He's my guy, and I'm sure he's just sitting there, like, rolling his eyes, like, whatever, Janelle. And, but I developed just overnight, like, an affinity for, at least for that energy, and when I look at the pictures of him now, I'm like, oh, look at him. I just want him to come home with me, and, of course, started to read up more about him. And so I have like a little, like mini crush on him. And then my friend, the same one, sent me a picture of San Simon that he got. And at first when I saw it, I was like, okay, cool. Like, that's some heavy duty stuff right there. That dude's pretty heavy duty. Yeah, like, badass, dude. Badass. I like it. But then, like, 2-3 days in, I was like, seeing San Simon. And I know how Google works. I know how the phones work. As soon as you say something, or hell, as soon as you think something, it pops up on your phone. Like, I know how that crap works. Information on him was popping up. So I was like, okay, well, I'll read it. And then, so I posted online that I wanted information. And, I started to get information from several people, which I, like, greatly appreciate. And there's just this urge to bring him in. And I don't know what it is, because, like I said, there's nothing that he can do that Santa Muerte can't do. And that's not meant to sound mean, once again, but I did some divination on it, and it was like, oh yeah, definitely bring him in. And I was like, really? And you can, like, feel it. You can feel it in the air. Like, there was no sense of rejection. It was like open arms, like, yeah, like, not so much like he's my homeboy, bring him in, but like, totally, we're so open to guests right now. And I don't mean that like that. I mean that, like, I got this feeling from my altar, physically got this feeling like open arms. It was the weirdest thing. I've never gotten that before, ever. And so I started to think about it. I was like, why? Why are you open arms with this guy, but not with Saint Cyprian, and not with, like, Don Pedrito, or not with, like, the Virgin Mary? Because I've tried all of those and gotten, like, no. But with this guy, I was like, yeah, bring him in. And I'm like, and I did several different forms of divination, triple checked myself. And it was like, yeah. Like, excited. I was like, okay, well, like, I'm not gonna, like, just jump in with both feet. I'm gonna tread lightly, so we'll see where it goes from here, like, maybe he's part of my pantheon. Like, that sounds weird, but you know what I mean? Like, so all I have really is my ancestral spirits and Santa Muerte, like, that's it. Yeah, like, I don't bring anybody else into my posse, like, those guys are there, my homies, and that's about it. So I'm curious to see where this is leading, and I, like, questioned, like, San Pascualito, and it was like, like, maybe. And then, of course, I questioned the, El Diablito, and it was like, no. And I was like, yeah, okay, I got that impression. No. Ever. No. I was like, ever? Well, definitely not now. And then I asked why bring in this Guatemalan folk saint? Like, why? And it was for experience. Basically, like, you only know vanilla. You need to know strawberry. You need to know chocolate. You need to know Neapolitan. You need to know rainbow. You need to know sherbet. You need to know all of them, because your future, kind of, it's important. Like, for you to know all of them. You have to recognize all of them. So far, you have a few under your belt, but you need more. And I was like, okay, I get that. I was like, well, is this going to be permanent? Don't know. I was like, don't know? Really? Yeah, don't know. So it's like up to me. And I was like, oh, finally I have a choice in the matter. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. So I'm reading all kinds of sources. I'm gonna try to get my hands on hopefully in a couple of books, and I have a candle of his that's in yellow, and I'm going to approach this and see where it goes. Like I didn't never anticipated, especially not a male, like a man saint, But it kind of sort of makes sense because he's got like ancient Mayan connection. So I don't know if the ancient energy is what's like welcoming. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if it's just because like, oh yeah, he's like tried and true and been around for a long time. I know that guy. Bring him in kind of thing or what. But just on a side note, I started asking about other ones like Tezcatlipoca, and it was like, oh yeah, Tezcatlipoca, yeah. And I was like, what about like Xolotl? Yeah, Xolotl. I was like, Quetzalcoatl? No. What the hell? Or what about I have a hard time pronouncing her name, but she's known as like a filth eater in the Mexica pantheon, and it was like, yeah, bring her in. Like I like her. Bring her in. So my next best bet, even though I don't want to, is to contract a muerto that was a healer. And like, how am I going to find that? Well, you'll find it if you really want to find it. Do I know how to do it? Yes. Do I know what it, like what rituals and methods and stuff like that? It's not hard to find out. It's really not. But should I? I mean, you have to be really prepared for something like that. You have to be prepared for all the potential consequences and all of the etiquette, and the steps you have to take. And quite frankly, I mean, I don't think I'm there yet, and I don't do enough homework to be ready for that. Mentally, yes, I do, but physically, no. I mean, I honestly believe that if you make contract with the dead, like go and get a random muerto and make a contract with them, then you better have full well knowledge of what to expect. You better be on your game. Because, a dead person, in my opinion, I think a dead person is to be more feared than an old god. Honestly. Because they are closer to us than that old god. I mean, prove me wrong, So, now don't prove me wrong. Just listen to what I'm saying. I know what I'm talking about. And, anyways, what do you think of the makeup? I rarely put on darker lipstick, but I miss this. I miss the 90s makeup. It's coming back, by the way. It is. You're gonna see. It's coming back. The thin eyebrows are already coming back. Anyways, so looking forward to it. This is gonna be interesting. A Guatemalan folk saint. Hopefully soon in my living room. An old spirit. That's it. Talk to you later.